I was bound to a bizarre system that could make anyone perform the same action 100 times at my command. The fake heiress deliberately jumped from the second floor and falsely accused me of pushing her. The whole family wanted to rush up and beat me to death. But the next second, the fake heiress suddenly climbed up to the second floor like a zombie and jumped back down without a care in the world. After 100 times, the biased parents and brother had completely gone insane. Su Wanxia, you're done for. This time, Mom and Dad won't let you off. After saying that with a smile, Su Mingyao tipped her head back and fell from the second floor window. The whole person fell into the flower bed at the base of the wall. The nanny, who was watering the flowers, was so frightened that she screamed, "Yeah, Mom, Dad," and my brother ran from the house into the yard. The moment they saw Su Mingyao, everyone was panicking. Mom burst into tears on the spot, and Dad hurried to call 120. Meanwhile, brother knelt beside Su Mingyao, breaking down as he questioned her. "Yao, how could this happen? Who did this?" Su Mingyao shakily extended the arm scratched by the flower branches, the wound set against her snow-white dress, looking tragically beautiful and broken. She pointed at me on the second floor. "Brother, Yao doesn't know what she did wrong. Sister, she's in so much pain." Sob. In an instant, 3 pairs of eyes turned to glare at me all at once. The previously gentle facade vanished without a trace, and there was no so-called blood relation or family affection left at all. The hatred that burst forth was entirely directed at me. The sudden intruder who had hurt the daughter and beloved younger sister they had painstakingly and tenderly raised. Perhaps in my previous life, I would have been hurt by those naked, cold eyes, but now, I was filled with excitement. System set this jumping off a building action to repeat 100 times. In her previous life, Su Mingyao's scheme succeeded. It was clearly only a superficial injury, yet it enraged the Su family. They rushed over and beat me with fists and kicks, leaving me badly injured in many places. On the way they took Su Mingyao to the hospital. I died full of resentment. After I died, my soul floated in the air, and I saw many subtitles. The real daughter is too pitiful. The entire Su family are cheap trash and deserve to die. If the author wants to write the fake daughter as a vicious female lead, then go write a revenge against scum story. The real daughter did nothing wrong. Using an innocent character's death to highlight the fake daughter's evil persona really hit the reader's sore spot. It's not satisfying at all. This family is just like the fake versus real daughter tropes you usually see, utterly fake. If the plot doesn't change later and you still let them die, I'll report the whole book. Bring the real daughter back to life. Let her take revenge, 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 revenge. Revenge, 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 revenge. The ridiculously repetitive subtitles flooded my vision. Only then did I realize that I was the cannon fodder real daughter in a novel with Su Mingyao as the vicious female lead. A bunch of readers kept spamming the comments with "so weird and hilarious." Fine, then I'll give you a weird and hilarious system. This book is dead to me, and as for what happens next, you figure it out yourself. I'm out. The person suspected to be the author left behind this one sentence and then vanished completely, and I really did carry this weird and hilarious system with me, and was reborn at the very moment before Su Mingyao jumped off the building. Looking at that smug, deliberately playful face, the pain of being punched and kicked in my past life, along with the hatred, surged through my entire body. In my previous life, I was controlled by plot-induced death. In this life, I'm going to make this family feel the terror of being brutally controlled by a cheat skill. Su Wanxia, are you crazy? How dare you push Yao? Get down here right now. Just like in my past life, my older brother Suzhua ran up from downstairs, completely ignoring the fact that I was a frail girl, and swung his fist at me to beat me up. Yao, where are you going? But this time, Mom's scream stopped him in his tracks. He subconsciously looked downstairs, only to see Su Mingyao spring up from the flower bushes like a stick. With her head down, she began striding furiously upward as if she recognized no one. Racing up the stairs, she directly bumped aside Suzhua, who was blocking the staircase. Then she plopped down onto the window frame in front of me. With hollow eyes, she clearly said to me the very first line of dialogue, "Su Wanxia, you're done for. This time, Mom and Dad won't let you off." Then she leaned backward. With a duong, she jumped down again. My mom downstairs and the nanny screamed again, and my dad was stunned. The phone even slipped from his hand and hit the floor. Yao, Suzhua shouted at the top of his lungs, his heart breaking, and rushed downstairs. Before he even reached the door, Su Mingyao climbed up again. Bang! She crashed into him again and climbed onto the window. Su Wanxia, you're finished. This time, Mom and Dad won't let you off. Jump down. Quick, quick, stop her. Mom and Dad reacted and shouted. Suzhua rushed up. Yao yao, bang. Su Mingyao was knocked over again. Jumped down. Yao yao, bang, yao yao, bang. If you keep bumping into me, we're really going to fall out. Ow, bang. On the 10th run, Su Mingyao was at least 5 times faster than before. She directly flung Suzhua flying. He crashed onto the first floor. His glasses shattered all over the floor. That's how a pervert is. They only get faster and faster, and their strength also increases with speed. Mom and Dad lunged forward, and together they tightly held Su Mingyao in a death grip. As a result, they were dragged more than 10 meters by inertia. Their arms, chest, and back were scraped raw by the hard wooden edges. The two of them screamed in pain. You've gone crazy, kid. You hit Mom and Dad too. Stop right now. Do you hear me? Even so, the 3 of them no longer dared to get close to Su Mingyao. They didn't dare step a single pace into the open space from the doorway to the stairs, could only shrink in the corner, staring wide-eyed in terror as Lin Mingyao went upstairs again and again. Each time was accompanied by my mom's heartbreaking sobs, but this was only the 25th time. When Su Mingyao jumped for the 55th time, it was already dark. She entered her peak state of frenzy, moving so fast she left after images. My mom could no longer cry, and in its place was overwhelming fear. There was no way not to be afraid, although Su Mingyao had arranged everything before her first jump. In order to stage a bit of a self-sacrificing ploy, she only suffered some superficial injuries, but she couldn't withstand jumping from the same height more than 50 times, the same wounds being cut open more than 50 times. At present, Su Mingyao was in ragged clothes, heavily battered, and her body was being kept together entirely by the system, crawling out of the pitch-black doorway with a creaking squeak. From afar, a charcoal-grilled spider monkey. Up close, Kayako Reborn, who wouldn't shiver. Mom and Dad, think of something. If she keeps jumping like this, she'll hurt herself. Only Suzhua was still feeling sorry for his younger sister. There was nothing he could do about it. Earlier, his glasses had been shattered by Su Mingyao, and with his severe nearsightedness he couldn't make out what was crawling around on the ground now. As for my mom, her voice was already hoarse from screaming, and she was slumped over my dad's shoulder. My dad crossed his legs and began reciting Buddhist prayers. Business people believe in this sort of thing. By the 90th time, it was just beginning to get light. Suzhua knelt beside the long streak of dark red marks that Su Mingyao had crawled out of, like an idiot. Mom and Dad leaned against each other, drenched in cold sweat, unable to make a sound. On the 100th time, the ambulance controlled by the system finally arrived. They dug the barely breathing Su Mingyao out of the pit. Where's the family? Someone from the family, come here. Medical staff were shouting from outside. Suzhua scrambled forward in panic. Me, I'll go with you. Only then did I slowly come down from the 2nd floor, pretending to look just as shaken. Go help Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad, get up quickly. Yao is in such a weird state right now. Are you really going to let your brother go along by himself? Only then did the 2 of them wake up from their daze. No matter how close an adopted daughter is, she is still a daughter. A son is their very lifeline. The 2 old geezers shakily stood up. Come on, we've got to go see what's happening. Let's go. There's an even more exciting show ahead. You can't miss it. Su Mingyao truly lived up to being the female lead of the original plot. She managed to save her life. This showed just how powerful the protagonist Halo was. She was pretty hard to kill. Even so, she had multiple fractures and contusions all over her body, without staying in the hospital for 3 to 5 months. She wouldn't be able to get back on her feet. It hurts so much. What's going on? Why can't I move? My face hurts so much too. Wah, Mom, Dad, brother, why aren't you helping me? Su Mingyao had never suffered such serious injuries. Completely devoid of any memory of being tormented by the creepy, freakish thing, she screamed shrilly and cried uncontrollably. The family of 3 wanted to step forward to comfort her, but they couldn't get past the psychological shadow left by the earlier charcoal-grilled spider monkey, especially Suzhua. After getting into the ambulance, he hurriedly leaned over Su Mingyao's face and called out to her. I saw a blood-red face and a pair of bloodshot eyes with all the whites showing. I almost fainted from fright. I was the only one who held up under the pressure. I walked up to the bed and gently patted the gauze on Su Mingyao's shoulder. Yao, it's okay, you have to hold on. If you can't hold on, what will you do in the future? I suddenly understood the mindset of killers who like to return to the scene of the crime right now. Su Mingyao is practically the child I created. The uglier she gets, the more I like her. She couldn't even bother to maintain her usual innocent lotus facade, shouting at me, Su Wanxia, why are you still here? Was it you who made me end up like this? Mom and Dad, it's Su Wanxia, she's the one who made me jump off the building. Hurry and deal with her, quick, I also calmly explained. Yao, it's only right that you blame me. It was my fault as your sister. I didn't stop you. At the time, Mom and Dad wanted to stop you, but I saw a flash of lingering fear on Mom and Dad's faces. They instinctively touched the injured parts of their bodies. The pain made them feel a physical fear of Su Mingyao. However, Su Mingyao knew nothing about all this. She only knew that her parents hadn't stopped her because she was worried about being disfigured. She blurted out in anger, why didn't you stop me? If you had stopped me, I would never have ended up like this. This is exactly what I was waiting for. System, make her say it 100 times. We tried to stop you, but we just couldn't, my dad explained with a grim face. You're too strong. Mom also quickly nodded. Yes, you even dragged Mom down. As she spoke, she showed Su Mingyao the wound on her arm. Look, I scraped off a huge patch of skin. As usual, Su Mingyao would definitely apologize to her right away and tenderly helped her blow on it, but now, she was still glaring with wide-open eyes, angrily rebuking them in an urgent, accusatory tone. Why didn't you stop me? If you had stopped me, I would never have ended up like this. Mom and Dad were shocked. They looked at Su Mingyao in disbelief. Her mother's voice trembled. Yao. Su Mingyao continued to ask, why didn't you stop me? If you had stopped me, I never would have ended up like this. My dad got angry. How can you talk to us like that, kid? Didn't I tell you we couldn't stop you? If you're going to blame us like this, then Dad really is going to be angry. Why didn't you stop me? If you had stopped me, I never would have ended up like this. What's wrong with you? Exactly. Can't you understand plain language or what? Why didn't you stop me? If you had stopped me, I would never have ended up like this. Say that again. Why didn't you stop me? If you had stopped me, I never would have ended up like this. Shut up. My dad was completely enraged, panting. He pointed at Su Mingyao. Do you even have any manners left? If you keep this up, stay here by yourself. We won't come see you anymore. Excited, her eyes were even turning red. Su Mingyao, however, paid no heed. Repeating that same sentence over and over, her voice grew louder and sharper. Unable to bear it, my mom clutched her heart and started crying again. Yao, how can you blame Mom like this? Doesn't Mom want what's best for you? Mom has no choice. Why can't you understand our difficulties? Only Su Zhuo was still speaking up for Su Mingyao. Dad, Mom, Yao is just in too much pain. Suffering such a serious injury is a huge blow to a young girl. She must be acting like this because she's in too much pain. The most important thing right now is to let her recover properly. Please don't blame her. I chimed in as well. Yeah, and why does Yao keep repeating this line? Did she maybe, when she fell? I tactfully pointed to my head. Su Wanxia, what do you mean? Are you saying Yao has something wrong with her head? Stop sowing discord here. We still haven't figured out why she jumped off the building before, and you bully her all the time. Maybe you're the one who drove her to it. Su Zhuo really was a fake person. Whatever happened to Su Mingyao, he could automatically pin it on me. I couldn't be bothered to deal with him, so I just said to Mom and Dad, Mom, Dad, let's call a doctor. It'd be good to have Yao checked. My parents were clearly swayed by what I said. Hesitant, scrutinizing gazes lingered on Su Mingyao. After all, for a wealthy heiress, an injury can be properly healed, but if her brain is damaged, that's another matter. Any value beyond family ties would have to be reassessed. However, before they could even call for the doctor, the nurse had already pushed the door open and come in first, her tone quite unfriendly. What is the patient shouting and screaming for? As family members, don't you know how to keep them in line? Even if this is a VIP ward, there are still other patients next door. Do you people have any manners? My parents considered themselves highly cultured aristocrats. He was a person of standing at this private hospital. Being scolded like that by the nurse, his face instantly darkened, and he couldn't save face. How am I supposed to handle it? She was like this when she woke up. My dad's tone was icy. I'm not blaming your hospital for not treating her properly. So why are you giving me that look? What's your employee number? I'm going to report this to your supervisor." Seeing how stubborn he was, the nurse didn't say anything either. She just frowned and stared at Su Mingyao, who kept repeating the same words in a shrill voice, for quite a while. Then she called the doctor over, and was granted a trip to the 5th floor, 5th floor, psychiatry. After learning that the doctor suspected Su Mingyao of having schizophrenia, my dad stormed out on the spot, rather than a daughter, his affection for Su Mingyao was more like watching over a business he had carefully invested in. The business fell through, so of course I was furious. My mom, by comparison, was far too humane. At first, she looked as if the sky had fallen, staggering around unsteadily and half fainting for a while. Then she collapsed beside Su Mingyao, whose throat was so hoarse she couldn't speak, and cried bitterly, "So Yao is sick? Don't worry, Mom will keep insisting on your treatment." Finally, she covered her face and sat down on the bench to rest, beginning to weep in distress. "What am I supposed to do? If word gets out that Yao is sick, Mrs. Li, Mrs. Chen, and Mrs. Gu will all know that I raised a mentally ill daughter. Do I not care about my dignity?" I comforted her at just the right moment. "It won't. If we don't say anything, how would they know? Besides, Yao's condition hasn't been diagnosed yet. Maybe once her injuries heal, her mental state will improve too. The more this happens, the more you need to hold yourself together. Tomorrow's banquet will be attended by elites and celebrities, all waiting for you to make a brilliant, radiant appearance." "Dinner party," my mom exclaimed, as if she had missed the most important event of all. Yes, tomorrow's dinner party, it's very important, how could I forget?" Supported by me, she hurried out in a panic. "Quick, I need to book a spa, get my hair done." "Mom," Sujwa shouted in despair behind her. My mother only glanced back and weakly said, "Come back after taking care of your sister, you have to attend tomorrow's banquet." After saying that, she left as if fleeing a famine. I turned around and helped Sujwa carry the exhausted Su Mingyao onto the bed, whispered softly in her ear just after she finished her 100th scream, "You won't be able to attend tomorrow night's banquet. Mom and Dad will take me instead. Are you anxious now?" Watching her eyes widen in shock, I shrugged innocently and followed in Mom's footsteps. Merchants value profit and take parting lightly, an unchanging truth through the ages. They initially rejected me and preferred Su Mingyao because it took 18 years to raise a princess who was truly presentable. Now the princess has become a madman. Once they calm down, how much of their love will still be left? Of course, a young man's feelings are the most sincere. Sujwa still resolutely stayed behind to take care of Su Mingyao. I think Su Mingyao would definitely make good use of this last remaining person, the only one who could help her turn the tables. "Don't let me down. Have Wanxia go to the banquet in Yao's place." Back home, Mom looked at me wearing the dress originally tailored for Su Mingyao. Her face was full of hesitation. Is this okay?" Dad gave her an impatient glare. "Why not? She's your biological daughter. She looks like you. Dress her up, and she won't be any worse than Mingyao." After saying that, he turned to me with a kind expression. "Wanxia, look, you've only been back for less than half a year. Your mom and dad originally wanted to let you adjust a bit more before taking you to those bigger events, but you've seen your sister's condition. Our Su family can't have no children to hold up appearances. We can only let you get some practice in advance. Do you want to seize this opportunity?" That old guy's emotional intelligence is really high. The way he said that was such a textbook move. I nodded obediently. "Thank you, Dad. I definitely won't let you and Mom down." He nodded with satisfaction. Although Mingyao always steals the spotlight from you, Dad has always been paying attention to you. I heard from your school teachers that your grades are very good. You're a smart child. Perhaps you're even luckier than Mingyao." Then he changed the subject. "Your Uncle Gu will also be coming to this banquet. He's an old friend of your mom and me. Their family went abroad, and we haven't seen them for more than 10 years. Their son is coming too, and he's about your age. You young people should get along well and look out for each other in the future." After saying that, he even patted my shoulder earnestly. Originally, this child and Mingyao could be considered childhood sweethearts. Back then we even joked and arranged a child betrothal. It's just that Mingyao now, sigh, happiness is something you have to fight for yourself, understand? The hint was this obvious. Isn't this just the classic true versus false heiress plot, where they fight over the fiancé? I hurriedly made my position clear. "Since you're thinking about me like this, I'll do my best. Leave this to me, and don't worry, you can keep worrying." I'm definitely going to mess everything up for you all after all. With Su Mingyao at the center, everyone except me is a fake person. It's easy to imagine that in the original plot, what kind of decent person could her fiancé, who was in cahoots with her, possibly be? Marry him? Are you crazy? Just as expected. On the day of the banquet, when my parents introduced me to the eldest son of the Gu family, Gu Sishio, he glanced at me contemptuously with those wide, all-white eyes. It's not as if just because your surname is Su, you can be my fiancé. Second Miss Su, stealing Yao Yao's parents wasn't enough. If you're trying to set your sights on me, then you're making a mistake. I didn't give birth to you, so I have no obligation to you. So typical. That idiot vibe is just too typical. She was the kind of Chun Ju who, when the heroine gave her a piece of candy as a child, became convinced that she was different from everyone else. For this, I can only respond with a sympathetic smile. Not at all. Young Master Gu is clearly the best match for Yao Yao. You're the same kind of person, equally stupid. I tilted my head slightly. It's just that Yao Yao is in the hospital right now, so it's not convenient for her to come. Would young Master Gu like to go with me to visit her? Su Wanxia, aren't you just trying to take advantage of Yao Yao being sick so that Sishio can see her at her most miserable? Stop pretending to be compassionate. Sujua suddenly appeared and mercilessly exposed me. He paid no attention at all to the disapproving looks from Mom and Dad. Sishio grew up with us. Do you think your feelings can compare? I've said it before. I only have Yao Yao as my sister, and Sishio is the same. He only has one fiancé. My dad looked at the Gu parents and began to size me up with guarded expressions. He quickly put on a stern face and scolded me. Sujua, what do you think you're doing? Are you starting an internal fight with your younger sister right in front of your Uncle Gu and Aunt Gu? What did I teach you before? My mom also chimed in. All right, Shushua, when the adults are catching up, don't keep butting in. You and Sishio haven't seen each other in a long time, so go have a drink together and chat. In her heart, she still favored Su Mingyao after all. In my previous life, when Su Mingyao threw a fit and wanted to run away from home because I came back, she held Su Mingyao and cried so sadly. Tonight, I want to speak to her alone and share a few private words, yet I heard her comforting Su Mingyao in the room. Fool, Mom has raised you for 18 years, you are my own daughter, even if Wanxia has blood ties with me. She has never lived with me. Over the years, Mom has gotten used to having you by my side, and you're the one Mom likes best. Without you, Mom can't even sleep. Truly a rose pampered and nurtured by hand, so much more fragrant than a bumpkin like me from the countryside. She had Sujua go and catch up with Gu Sishio, no doubt hinting that he should say more good things about Su Mingyao. Sujua understood immediately and left with Gu Sishio draped over him. I set down my wine glass, quietly. I followed behind them. In this household, it's an absolute patriarchy. Having Mom's love doesn't help much. Dad deciding that I would attend on Su Mingyao's behalf was a huge crisis, not to mention what I said in Su Mingyao's ear yesterday. Someone like her, who has to be the best even if it means eating shit, would show up here even if it killed her. As expected. In the small garden behind the banquet hall, I saw Su Mingyao sitting in a wheelchair. She was wearing a sapphire blue gauze dress, fully made up, slender and pale. Even the wound on her face looked pitifully lovely, like a broken porcelain doll. Seeing this, Gu Sishio's heart broke. He knelt on one knee before Su Mingyao, gently stroking her cheek, a deranged look in his eyes. Who did this? Tell me. Su Mingyao lowered her teary eyes and shook her head, aggrieved and fragile. Asai, don't ask anymore. Anyway, ever since my sister came back, I'm no longer considered a daughter of this family. Why, you won't abandon me, will you? That Su Wanxia bullied you, didn't she? I'll go call her over and get revenge for you. Gu Sishio was instantly enraged and was about to stand up. Su Mingyao hurriedly grabbed him, but tugged at her wound. Just kidding. She had actually snuck over to find Gu Sishio for some reassurance. What would happen if her parents found out? Feeling sorry for Su Mingyao, Gu Sishio quickly squatted back down. I deliberately stepped out a little from behind the flower bushes, pretending to be spying but not very good at hiding it. Let Su Mingyao be able to see me. Sure enough, a hint of smugness flashed in her eyes. Then she said shyly to Gu Sishio, I don't want you to have a conflict with your parents because of me. How about this? Kiss me, and then I won't hurt anymore. Sujua even coughed jokingly and turned around. Gu Sishio let out a few domineering chuckles, bent down, and kissed the wound on Su Mingyao's face, then her lips hidden behind the flower bushes. I was laughing like crazy. System. Have Gu Xixio kiss Su Mingyao like this 100 times. The system, which had remained silent all along, finally, they said their first comment about me. 6. The two of them, who had only intended to sample it lightly at first, began kissing each other passionately, an action that could only be completed by two people. Gu Xixio was forced to join Su Mingyao's bizarre repetitive antics, as the rhythm grew increasingly rapid, from light kisses to wet kisses, to sucking, to slurping. The reporter and the others were drawn over by Su Zhua's scream. When my parents and the Gu family's parents arrived, Su Mingyao and Gu Xixio were already completely surrounded by a wall of flashing cameras. The two of them could be described as utterly disheveled. What had originally been a beautiful, picture-perfect pose had, after being repeated for so long, drained their strength. One was half squatting, trembling as if constipated, while the other had his head drooped, crazily shaking under a neck that looked ready to give out. On top of that, the wound on Su Mingyao's face had been sucked open and started bleeding. The two of them were a bloody mess, biting at each other. What an affectionate pair of zombies. Xixio, what are you doing? Get over here. The Gu parents, who had still been acting aloof and cool just moments ago, panicked. Father Gu's rebuke was to no avail. He ran over and tried to physically pull Gu Xixio and Su Mingyao apart, but the two of them were astonishingly strong. Though they looked vulnerable, they did not budge an inch. Mother Gu ran over to help, but with a single fling from Gu Xixio, one of her heels snapped off and got stuck in a crack in the floor. He plopped down on the ground. The shutter kept flashing. The mocking chatter of the guests around them went on and on. So those who come back from abroad are really open-minded. These two aren't even officially engaged yet, and they're kissing like this in public. If it were my daughter, I'd break her legs. The Su family's tricks are just too low-level. They know their current assets can't measure up to the other side, so they're in a rush to sell off their daughter. No, this is terrifying. Young Master Gu kissed her until she started bleeding, and this woman still isn't dodging. Are these two both Yandra or what? Gross. I'm about to throw up the steak I ate for dinner. Parents from both families, take a look yourselves. Isn't this creepy? Could there be some kind of mental illness, a mutually reciprocated condition? Funny. All I see are two young people with suppressed desires, driven by their parents' oppression toward a socially disastrous ending in mutual destruction. In recent years, the Gu family's company went public, and their net worth skyrocketed. They never really intended to marry into my family in the first place. It was just affectionate pretense. They were simply riding a donkey while looking for a horse. As a result, it turned into this mess, as if it were a done deal, and in such an undignified way. Father Gu was so furious he stormed over to my parents. He pointed at them aggressively. What are you standing there watching for? Control your daughter. What's this supposed to mean? It's not enough to introduce one openly, so you sneak another one in behind our backs. Are your Su family daughters so desperate for men, so cheap? My mother couldn't save face. The fact that Su Mingyao was labeled mentally ill had already made her feel too ashamed to hold her head up. Now she was being accused of coaching her daughter to throw herself at a man. Where was she supposed to put her old princess face in front of Mrs. Li, Mrs. Chen, and the others? So she decisively fought back. Old Gu, what are you doing? Are your eyes too bad from age to see clearly? Look at what your son has done to my daughter. What are his hands doing? Indeed, because of physiological convulsions, the hand Gu Xixio had originally placed on Su Mingyao's face became quite forceful, as if it were digging into her cheek. Just looking at it hurts. But my sly father took advantage of that and used cunning wording to twist the truth. Forget it, old Gu. Look at how much Xixio likes my Mingyao. No matter how hard you pull, you can't separate them. Let's do them a favor and let them get married. Bullshit. Your mom, Mrs. Gu, loved her son dearly and was not having it. She wiped away the panicked tears on Gu Xixio's face, her hand coming away smeared with blood. My son is crying. Can't you see that he's crying? Suddenly, as if she had understood something, she cried out mournfully and pointed at my parents. Tell me, does Su Mingyao have some kind of superpower, or did she cast some kind of spell on my son? Otherwise this is impossible. My son can't be like this. My heart skipped a beat. This is what it means for a mother and child to be truly connected by heart. Even this possibility could be sensed by intuition, but there was no time for my parents to think, because Mother Gu was so anxious about her son. She started frantically beating Su Mingyao. Su Zhua shielded Su Mingyao and began desperately pulling at Mrs. Su. Father Su was not to be outdone and started kicking Su Zhua. Of course my dad felt sorry for Su Zhua, so he rushed forward and got into a scuffle with Father Su. Seeing that the whole family had joined in and that all dignity was gone, my mom could no longer hold her anger in and joined the fray, lashing out wildly. A complete mess. Of course you have to drink it while it's hot. A slight smile curved at the corner of my lips. System. After my mom joins in, for every action Su Mingyao experiences, make her endure it 100 times. The all-in-one fully automatic family brawling machine has arrived. The Gu and Su families fought from night until day, from day until night. They fought until even the reporters, filming from every angle, had hands too sore to keep shooting. Everywhere you look on every platform, it's a 60-degree display of family ugliness from every angle. They roasted all those people watching the drama, and everyone yawned one long yawn before heading back home. Steer clear of working with these two families, they're complete lunatics. I ate dessert and drank wine. When the bizarre action was about to be completed, called 120. My parents are already old, and no matter how well they take care of themselves, they still couldn't withstand 36 hours of bizarre combat. They were paralyzed, completely paralyzed, the kind of paralysis that causes loss of bladder and bowel control. Gu's parents were the same too. The moment Gu Xixio regained his freedom, he violently pushed away the blood servant Su Mingyao in his arms. He lay sprawled on the ground, vomiting uncontrollably. After all, he was a noble, but not a vampire noble, and changing his eating habits was very uncomfortable. The bloody taste in his mouth was a lifelong shadow over him. Su Mingyao fell out of the wheelchair and, holding her breath, crawled toward Gu Xixio, wanting to have a life-and-death romance with him. Asai, even if you suck me dry to death, I won't blame you. Gu Xixio was so startled that he screamed, Mom, am I going to die? I saw a ghost. Only Suzhua still had some strength left. He, ever the loyal dog, picked up Su Mingyao, wanting to place her back in the wheelchair. I was moved by his thoughtfulness and decided to let him show off properly. System. Replay the action of Su Mingyao being lifted onto the wheelchair 100 times. Suzhua was done for rhabdomyolysis in both arms, along with severe kidney damage. My parents had just come out of the operating room, having cried over themselves. Then they turned around and found that their son still hadn't come out of the emergency room, and they started crying over him too. Compared with them, who could only cry, I was much busier. I brought my dad a computer full of emails from shareholders asking him to confirm whether he had been diagnosed with a mental illness, along with a phone stuffed full of resignation letters, and he was also reciting to my mom in real time the comments in the trending searches saying she was a rich family shrew, with every sign of aging showing. My mom cries and laughs every day, and it feels like she's not far from a mental breakdown. My dad is still barely holding on. Where is my lawyer? I'm going to sue them. I shrugged with regret. Sorry, Dad, the company's legal department has already been disbanded. I'll need you to approve some funds so I can go outside and find one. He still didn't know. The Gu family had deep pockets and had already begun a fierce campaign of retaliation against the Su family, poach key departments and members from the company with a hefty sum, dig up one shady account after another, spend money to shape public opinion and completely nail the Su family's enterprise to the pillar of shame, collect large amounts of information and submit them to the relevant authorities for review. Soon, the Su family would be facing a far more devastating fate than bankruptcy, and I was the only one my parents could send out to run errands. In order to prevent me from harboring any selfish motives, my father had me sign the property division agreement, and as a legal heir of the Su family, I voluntarily gave up my inheritance rights to the equity of Su Corporation. But to reassure me, they set aside 80 million yuan as my personal property. This is exactly what I wanted. Not long after the money came in, the study abroad approval I had applied for also came through. That night, just as I was getting ready to leave the hospital, my dad suddenly grabbed my hand. Xia, Dad owes you an apology. From now on, this family is relying on you. When the time comes, move your household registration back here, then we can become a real family. How ridiculous. Only now did he remember that, in legal terms, we had never become a family. I laughed, and for the first time in front of him, I laughed with schadenfreude. No need, Dad. I never thought about joining this family. What would I join it for? I tilted my head. To suffer together with your bitter melon family. After saying that, I didn't look at the shocked expression on my dad's face anymore, and after he came to his senses, there was a steady stream of curses. He strode straight out of the hospital ward. He walked out of the hospital breathing hard, At last he was in air that no longer smelled of disinfectant, nor of the year-round, unwashed stench of urine and feces on their bodies. What replaced it was a foul, rotten stench. I lowered my head and saw Su Mingyao crawling on the ground. Everyone in the Su family had been sent to the hospital, and they no longer had the energy to care about her. As for the Gu family, they would never accept her. She was just like when she jumped off the building 100 times back. Then in rags and filthy, with a deep-seated hatred toward me, yet also confusion. How the hell did you do it? Su Wanxia, you should have died after I jumped off the building. You should have been beaten to death by Dad, Mom, and my brother. What method did you use? Do you have a system? It seems that after her protagonist halo was completely shattered, she awakened some astonishing memories. But why would I tell her the truth? Nope, I shrugged and told her in the same deliberately innocent tone she had once used. It's just that your parents felt you weren't theirs anymore and didn't want you, that's all. Now I'm the one who's their precious daughter. Oh, I don't believe it, she sniffed, her body jerking as if in a spasm. Then she finally broke down, shouting hysterically, Mom and Dad would never give up on me, they've always loved me. It's you, you're the one behind this. I'm going to tell them. Once they find out, they won't let you get away with this, she viciously climbed up the stairs. The hospital security guard ran over. Miss, who is this? Do you need help? I politely shook my head. She's my parents' daughter. She's here to visit the sick. She usually likes this half-kneeling, half-crawling funeral style, so no need to worry about her. Under the security guard's stunned gaze, I left the hospital and rushed to the airport. The moment I settled into the first-class cabin, I looked out at the white clouds drifting freely under the golden sunlight. I took a deep breath. System. Have Su Mingyao repeat the act of climbing stairs 100 times. She had jumped down from upstairs before. This time, let her climb up. If luck was on our side, the whole family might end up lying there neatly together, and I, after finally getting rid of them, understood what true flying really is. After hearing this story, what do you think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's begin a new story. My best friend accompanied me to an interview at a top 100 company, where we happened to come across a young man who fainted from heatstroke. I called 120 and went to buy a bottle of water, but by the time I got back, my best friend was gone. Later, she was hired by the company. Sorry, I was originally trying to buy you some time, but I didn't expect HR to hire me instead. My best friend flaunted her high salary and benefits every day, but little did she expect that the young man I saved was a rich, handsome high achiever. To show his gratitude, he gave me luxury cars and mansions, and even made a grand public confession. Not long after, I became my best friend's boss. Unable to bear the gap, my best friend went crazy and hugged me before jumping off the rooftop together. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in that scorching summer day. This time, my best friend lovingly wiped the sweat off the young man's face and kindly urged me, you should hurry and go to the interview. I've got things covered here. Without saying another word, I turned around decisively. She probably didn't know, the thing I regretted most in my last life was saving this man. Why should one choice make such a world of difference? Why am I not as lucky as you? My best friend Song Yayao, eyes red, clutched me tightly and dragged me down from the 32nd floor. The cold wind howled furiously in my ears. With a thunderous crash, I suddenly opened my eyes. On the sun-baked street, there was a young man lying there. Everything before his eyes seemed strangely familiar. Oh no, someone's had heatstroke. Just as she realized she had been reborn, her best friend Song Yayao ran over holding an umbrella. She ran so hurriedly that she nearly twisted her ankle. Song Yayao squatted on the ground, wiping the sweat from the young man's face, pouring mineral water into the bottle cap and bringing it to the young man's mouth. She did not forget to wave me off. Qian, hurry and go to your interview. I'm guessing 120 will take a while to get here. Your job wasn't easy to come by. I'll handle things here. I was stunned. In my previous life, she had complained that the weather was too hot and told me not to meddle. She had water in her bag but was unwilling to take it out, so she made me go buy some in the end. While I was out buying water, she went in for the interview. I couldn't get through to her on the phone, and I thought she must have had an emergency. When 120 arrived, I ran to the company drenched in sweat, only to find out that my best friend, who had gone to the interview with me, got the job. She said she had wanted to buy me some time, but didn't expect my name to be called so soon. The job was too good, and she thought it would be a shame to waste the opportunity, so she ended up getting hired in one shot. Although I felt uncomfortable, I thought that even if I came to the interview myself, I might not necessarily pass, she was my good friend, and since the opportunity hadn't gone to an outsider, I didn't pursue the matter. Unexpectedly, after she joined the company, she kept bragging to me about how great her job was, acting full of superiority. It wasn't until the young man I had rescued used his connections to make me her superior that she was completely stunned. That day, she crazily held me in her arms and leapt from the rooftop. The cutting cold wind still seemed to roar faintly in my ears. So, Song Yao was reborn too, but she didn't know. The decision I regretted most in my previous life was giving up an interview to save this man, since heaven has given me a chance to start over. I must seize it. Given a second life. 13 people have already gone in. They haven't picked someone in advance, have they? In the waiting room of Fuxing Group, there were dozens of people interviewing for the position of product planner. With such generous treatment and only one round of interviews, everyone was feeling anxious. Maybe because I had died once, I felt completely calm inside. Next, Su Qian. I followed the assistant into the interview room. There was only one HR person in the room. Although in my previous life I had gotten in through the back door, I knew a thing or two about the company and him. This HR interview doesn't look at educational background, only at ability. My name is Su Qian. These are my projects from the 5 years since I graduated. I benchmarked them against 6 companies, and the products from 5 of them were all bestsellers. These are real-time sales figures. A 3-minute introduction, comprehensive, thorough, fluent, and crisp. Who told me that I had rehearsed with Song Yao for several days beforehand? Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to memorize it. I certainly won't change the name on my resume and get hired after saying something like that. Ms. Su, I'm very curious about the reason that company's products failed. The HR manager pushed up their glasses and looked at me with great interest. I gave an embarrassed shrug. It wasn't a planning failure either. Mainly, on the day the product went on sale, his company was reported for tax evasion and underreporting income. HR was stunned. He nodded at me, his eyes full of delight. Right after the interview, the assistant informed me that I had been hired and told me to report on time in 3 days. I nodded calmly, but inside I was overjoyed. Song Yao was waiting for me at the entrance of the building. When she heard that I'd passed the interview, she put on a look of congratulations and even made fun of herself. You're someone who does big things, unlike me. On a scorching hot day, I just had to step in to help. Look, I've practically peeled off a layer of skin from the sun. Even so, her face was lit with delight. She got on the subway. There were quite a few people, and Song Yao covered her nose, her face full of disgust. I really hope I saved a Prince Charming, so he could rescue me from this stench of sweat. The 2 older brothers beside her were both looking at her with unfriendly expressions, but Song Yao was lowering her head and scrolling on her phone, completely unconcerned. Suddenly, she grabbed my arm. Hey, Su Qian, the person in this video looks like you. In the video titled Kind-Hearted and Beautiful Help vs. Indifferent Inaction in the Face of Death, Song Yao cared for the heatstroke-stricken young man with great devotion and became a female bodhisattva. In the comments section, meanwhile, I stood by and did nothing, and was repeatedly accused of being cold and heartless. Song Yao thought I would defend myself like she did and end up becoming the clown, but I said nothing, and quietly took off my high heels. What are you doing? I'm tired, just giving my feet a break. Song Yao was a little disappointed to see that I hadn't been provoked. As she got off the subway, she looked around, seeming a little distracted. What are you looking for? Song Yao avoided my gaze. Nothing. Just then, a chubby man got off from the back door, carrying a head of cabbage as he quickly walked toward us. Song Yao reacted quickly and darted aside in an instant. The man glared at me and raised the cabbage. Before the cabbage even reached above his head, it fell to the ground. He clutched his elbow and cried out in pain. A deep red imprint left where the high heel had stabbed him. I calmly put on my shoes and called for the staff. Before long, he was subdued. This man has some mental issues and always calls himself a champion of justice. In my previous life, after watching the video, he had an episode and smashed a head of Napa cabbage onto Song Yao, almost giving her a concussion. I had completely forgotten about this, and only remembered it just now after seeing him when I got on the subway. Seeing that I hadn't been hit like she had, Song Yao became even more disappointed. I didn't pay any attention to the news either. Song Yao was quite kind-hearted and posted a clarification. You all misunderstood. My best friend was just in a hurry to go to an interview. As long as that little guy is okay, that's all that matters. I knew she just wanted to get the wealthy heir Qi Lingfeng to notice her while the buzz was at its peak after joining the company. I was getting familiar with the work environment. And Song Yaya didn't really message me much either. Unexpectedly, less than a week later, just as I got off work, a sports car pulled up and stopped in front of me, the window rolled down, and Song Yaya pretended to be angry. Su Qian, you're way too focused on work and too little on friends. Come on, let's go out to eat. The driver's seat was occupied by Qi Lingfeng, looking every bit the gentleman. He smiled at me. A friend of my lifesaver is my friend too, no need to be polite. My heart tightened. In just a few days, Song Yayao had gotten into his car and even become his friend, so fast. Thanks, no need. I've already made plans with someone. Song Yayao curled her lip, not bothering to be polite. She flicked her hair. Then don't force Qianqian, she's been frugal since she was little, and if you make her ride in such a nice car, she'll feel uncomfortable. The subway entrance is 15 minutes away from the company. I had just crossed the road when raindrops started falling from the clear sky, and then came a crackling downpour, growing heavier and heavier, so fast it caught me completely off guard. With nowhere nearby to take shelter from the rain, I held my bag over my head and ran. I tried to hail a taxi, but it didn't stop and splashed me all over with water. At that moment, a Rolls-Royce drove slowly along the roadside toward me. Still fuming, I thought that if he dared splash me, I'd curse him out too. Unexpectedly, the car slowly came to a stop in front of me. Fu Yuetu chewed gum and curled a finger at him. The rain was too heavy. I didn't have time to think and quickly climbed into the car. Good thing you came, or I'd have been drenched to death. He burst out laughing. I came over right after work. What a coincidence, I got here just in time. He still looked as carefree and careless as he had back in school, completely at odds with the police uniform he was wearing. Since I gave you that love letter 8 years ago, you've never reached out to me, and when you did talk to me, you were always lukewarm. Why did you suddenly want to find me? 8 years ago, a love letter, for me? I was completely baffled. Yeah, the one Song Yayao asked to be given to you. Did you really forget? Or are you pretending to forget? Fu Yuetu was Song Yayao's crush. Back then, Song Yayao had written his name all over an entire notebook. Song Yayao even got a tattoo for him, so I knew nothing about the love letter. She just didn't give it to me. Fu Yuetu froze, and the air turned awkward for a few seconds. Fortunately, we arrived downstairs at my apartment building. I changed into a clean set of clothes and went to the restaurant with him. When he heard that I was going to assist him with the investigation, Fu Yuetu was very surprised. Why help me? Don't tell me, you didn't know the school bully was good when you were young, and now you want to get back together. I almost spat my coffee in his face. At that moment, Song Yayao sent a video call, while Qi Lingfeng went to the bathroom. She couldn't help bragging wildly to me. Qianqian, look at this table full of sashimi. This is 1982 Lafite, and this newly bought LV bag. I asked you to come, but you didn't. Let me tell you, the person I saved really was a Prince Charming. Seeing that I was also in the restaurant, she looked at me with disdain. Went on a blind date. Which weirdo was it this time, the balding one, or the greasy one? Show me secretly, to avoid being pressured into marriage. I really did go on several blind dates. Su Qian often took pleasure in my embarrassment. Looking at Fu Yuetu's curious expression, I really wanted to hang up, but Song Yayao was still useful, so I had to patiently explain. Not a blind date, an old classmate. You're even going on blind dates with old classmates. Let me see which classmate is such a gem. You don't even dare show me. Fu Yuetu is indeed much more composed now. He calmly ate his cake, a smile on his face. All right, if you're too embarrassed to look, then forget it. Don't get worked up either. In a couple of days I'll have Qi Lingfeng introduce you to a rich second-generation guy from their circle. Before I could say anything, Fu Yuetu snatched my phone away. Long time no see. Song Yayao, who had been chattering non-stop, suddenly fell silent. When did you two get together? There seemed to be a hint of complaint in her tone. The word get together sounds too ugly. How could I have any ideas about a guy my sister has dated? Don't talk nonsense, we're not like that. The two spoke almost in unison. Maybe Qi Lingfeng had come back. Afraid I might say something else, Song Yayao hurriedly hung up the phone. Late at night, I lay in bed tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. Song Yayao sent another video. Qianqian, you have no idea how generous Qi Lingfeng is. He gave me a gift, and he also gave me the villa keys. Just wait, I'm going to the bathroom anyway. I'll give you a tour. the camera turned around brilliant lights, leather sofas, exquisite decor, and a magnificent, lavish setting, from the bedroom to the bathroom. It takes a good 5 or 8 minutes to walk there. Since we're such good friends, I'll be merciful and let you come stay for a few nights. Look at you, your eyes are practically glued. She shook the camera and still didn't forget to ask me, how is it? Big, right? I wiped the sweat from my palms. Big, really big, so big that it took half an hour for Qi Lingfeng to drag me from the bathroom to the bedroom. Covered in blood, however, Song Yaya didn't notice the look on my face. She was extremely pleased with herself. Qi Lingfeng is so thoughtful. I casually mentioned that I wanted to work with you, and he said your company is owned by his uncle, so he'll get me in a couple of days. Don't worry, if I become your superior, I'll take good care of you. Over the next few days, I worked hard and seriously, while Song Yaya worked hard and seriously to flood her moments feed luxury goods, jewelry, gourmet food. A mutual friend joked in the comments, asking whether she had hooked up with some wealthy man. She was very reserved. He's hardly some rich tycoon, just a second-generation rich kid. He hasn't agreed yet. If a man gets it too early, he won't cherish it. I'll test him a little longer. I just smiled. Without saying anything these days, I've finished all the odds and ends on my plate, and I'm feeling pretty bored. President Zhang called us to the conference room for a meeting. The company has taken on a troublesome client, old Zhang. Their family makes curtains, and a manufacturer placed a large custom order. The order was so large that it was enough to buy another factory. Uncle Zhang took this business very seriously and was very particular about the choice of fabric. By rights, this batch of goods was both high quality and inexpensive, and it should have been a win-win partnership, but a fatal mistake occurred. The initial mold size was too small. This caused the entire batch of curtains to be ruined. Uncle Zhang begged our boss to help him come up with a plan to sell them at a low price to recoup some losses, and then announced the factory's closure. This plan is simple, but the difficulty lies in the fact that if it succeeds, his company will go bankrupt, and we will also lose our reputation. The key is that Mr. Zhang has had a brief encounter with our boss, so he can't easily refuse. Several senior planners also didn't want to take it on, using their busy schedules as an excuse to pass it to me. Why don't we let Su Qian give it a try? Didn't they say she's successfully made several products? Manager Qi said grimly. She's just an intern. Can she really do it? Old Zhang also understood a thing or two and waved his hand. If it won't work, then forget it. I won't force you. Take your time selling them. It's just that half a lifetime of work was for nothing. Sigh. He looked weathered and dejected, ready to leave. I stood up. Mr. Qi, I can give it a try. Mr. Qi's expression looked a little off. He couldn't say much because of politeness, but his eyes practically wanted to fire me on the spot. In my previous life, of course, Song Yaya never got ahead. It was only later that she told me about it, and I found it rather curious, so I spent some time thinking it over, although that plan was just talk on paper. But now, the opportunity to put it into practice has come, hasn't it? The existence of all things has value. A fabric is man-made. If people can turn fabric into curtains, then they can still turn curtains into something else. In the plan, I turned part of the fabric into a cover curtain for the radiator. There isn't much of a market for this in the south, but in the north, every household has radiators, and dust buildup is a common occurrence then. Promotion and operations. Because the fabric is high quality and the patterns are exquisite, it achieved very good results. Then all the curtains were reworked and remodeled, and the market was opened up. Not only did Uncle Zhang's company not go bankrupt, it actually started operating. This even made it onto the trending list, which counted as free advertising for the group. The boss praised me in front of everyone at the company and even called me into the conference room. The banner Uncle Zhang gave you, the tea set I bought while on a business trip, and the bonus I asked HR to add to your paycheck at the end of the month. Consider it encouragement. Just as I accepted it, the secretary knocked on the door. Mr. Qi Lingfeng is here. Song Yaya followed behind Qi Lingfeng into the room. Uncle, this is my friend. She's looking for a job. He spotted me right away. What a coincidence. Her best friend is here too. How about putting them in the same department? The secretary looked troubled. The planners on the HR side are already fully staffed. Right now, there's only one department manager left. Song Yaya was overjoyed, but he still pretended to be a little reluctant. Lingfeng, becoming a manager right after arriving, it's not really appropriate, is it? Qi Lingfeng patted her hand to reassure her. It's okay, my uncle will find someone to train you. President Chi swiveled his chair, his eyes never leaving Song Yayao. There will definitely be someone to guide you. But do you have any achievements you can really show for it? Song Yayao shook her head, but without ability, it's hard to convince people. She froze. I laughed, want to get hired through connections, although Mr. Chi is Qi Lingfeng's uncle, but he's a seasoned old hand who doesn't keep idle people around. In my previous life, before I joined the company, he was extremely picky about me. If it weren't for the fact that I had some ability, he would have turned me down, but now it has nothing to do with me. I'm taking my things and leaving unexpectedly. Just as I lifted my foot, I was called to a stop. Xiaosu, I've always cherished talent. You have such keen judgment at such a young age, and your future is limitless. From today on, you're the department manager. Friend of Qi Lingfeng, aren't you Xiaosu's good friend? Let Xiaosu show you around. When you make a name for yourself later, Uncle will definitely promote you, the secretary muttered softly. Promoting him straight from intern to department manager is practically an exception to the rule. Song Yayao's expression turned extremely unpleasant. Qi Lingfeng tugged at her, and Song Yayao accepted it unwillingly. All right, then thank you in advance, Uncle. After leaving the conference room, Qi Lingfeng had something to attend to and left first. I took Song Yayao to her desk and explained her daily responsibilities to her. She seemed a little impatient and kept looking around. At that moment, the deputy general manager handed me a stack of documents. Xiaosu, congratulations on your promotion so quickly. These are the new projects. Please distribute them to everyone. Several major companies are fighting over the Flower Sea Amusement Park project, but they have high hopes for our company. I hope your department can secure it perfectly. As soon as the vice president left, Song Yayao begged me, Qianqian, I got in through connections and want to take on a big project to make a name for myself. Can you take me on this one? Sure enough, she joined the company precisely for this project. Several colleagues were somewhat displeased after hearing this. Why should the newcomer get to choose the project first? Stop arguing. She got in through connections, just let her have it. The few of them actually didn't want to take on this big project either, so they just went along with it. Song Yayao had a bad relationship with these people in her previous life, but at this moment, she appeared very generous. All right then. Once the plan is nearly complete, I'll treat everyone to karaoke. In the following period of time, Song Yayao received gifts until her hands were sore, yet she still remained reserved and didn't give Qi Lingfeng an answer. While diligently learning about the project and creating the image of a strong career woman, she drove Qi Lingfeng even more crazy. He comes to the company building every day to wait for Song Yayao, and all the colleagues are extremely envious. Soon, a month passed, with everyone's joint efforts. The Flower Sea project plan is almost complete. Song Yayao also kept her promise and took us out for karaoke. At the KTV, Song Yayao was exchanging messages with Qi Lingfeng, her face beaming with a sweet smile. She eagerly insisted on paying the bill, doing so generously, instantly bringing her closer to several colleagues. Upon hearing that Qi Lingfeng was pursuing her, her colleagues were filled with envy. But Yayao, rich second generations are all playboys. You should be careful, Song Yayao held the sports car key, lost in thought. An old employee curled their lips. Qi Lingfeng is a devoted man. His ex-girlfriend died 6 years ago, and he hasn't been in a relationship since. Could he possibly lack women? But in these 6 years, he has never publicly acknowledged any woman, let alone given away cars or houses. I think you saved his life, and he opened his heart to you. Song Yayao was overjoyed and directly downed a glass of red wine. She shook her head and looked at me. Qianqian, do you think Qi Lingfeng is better than Fu Yuetu? But speaking of this, I still want to tell you that Fu Yuetu's parents are intellectuals, and they might not take a liking to you. You don't need to gamble with your own happiness just to spite me. I snorted coldly. She really thinks highly of herself, eating from her own bowl yet worrying that others might know what's in the pot. When leaving the KTV, Fu Yuetu was leaning against a Rolls-Royce, smoking a cigarette. Under the streetlight, he appeared casual and laid back. Wow, handsome guy. Several colleagues around me were acting like infatuated fools. Song Yayao hadn't seen Fu Yuetu for many years. She looked at me with a hint of jealousy in her eyes. Looking for you? No. Looking for you? Fu Yuetu interrupted her. The colleagues all exclaimed in surprise. Song Yayao, you're amazing. How do all the people you know end up being handsome, rich, and successful? Fu Yuetu crushed out the cigarette but, the corners of his lips lifted. Don't misunderstand, I just want to ask you, why did you intercept the love letter I wrote to Su Qian back then? Could it be that you have a secret crush on me? Fu Yuetu grinned roguishly, and Song Yayao felt a little embarrassed. The colleagues around them were all watching the drama unfold. At that moment, someone got out of the sports car parked on the other side of the KTV. It was Qi Feng. He held a large bouquet of roses and elegantly handed it to Song Yayao. Glancing at her short skirt, "Aren't you cold wearing so little? Let's go to the car." Saved by the situation, Song Yayao immediately hooked her arm through his. "Oh, I forgot to introduce him. This is Qi Feng, my boyfriend. Today is the day the two of us officially became a couple, and you're all witnesses to it." Qi Feng smiled happily. He went back to the car to get small gifts and handed them out to each of us one by one. "I hope you'll take good care of Yayao from now on, all." My colleagues were incredibly envious. He came over and lit a cigarette for Fu Yuetu. Fu Yuetu didn't take it. He draped his coat over me. "Bro, don't overthink it. I have no ideas about your girlfriend, back in high school, and still now, what can I say? I'm the kind of person who sticks to one path all the way to the end. The goddess in my heart has always been the same one." A deep, inscrutable look flashed in Qi Feng's eyes, and he smiled as he waved his hand. "Bro, there's no need to explain, I didn't take it to heart." Song Yayao bit her lip and held on to Qi Feng even more intimately. "I did intercept the love letter at the time, but it was for Su Qian's studies, nothing else. Don't flatter yourself." Fu Yuetu laughed. Okay, even if I'm being presumptuous." "What do you mean, presumptuous?" "Alright, Yayao, it's cold outside, let's go home." Got into the car. I looked puzzled. "What are you doing here?" I'd been keeping an eye on Qi Feng. "I saw him come here, and by chance I saw you too. I only mentioned to you a couple of days ago that I suspected him of stealing trade secrets, and you went to tail him. Isn't that a bit much?" "Of course not. I suspect he may be connected to other cases, but I can't say more." "I understand very well, but Officer Fu, investigate as you should, but next time don't use past matters as an excuse." Fu Yuetu said nothing in the end. He drove to the flower shop in trance. "I wasn't using you as an excuse, I meant what I said. I still didn't get the flowers, because the florist had already closed." He felt a little regretful. "I'll come earlier tomorrow. This flower shop is for sale. Then I'll go buy flowers at another shop." "No need, Qianxian. Are you being considerate, or are you politely turning me down?" His eyes were very clear, and I smiled. "Neither." "Then, the case is closed. Give me this flower shop. We missed our entire youth, and we also missed the previous life in this life. I don't want to miss it again." The next day at work, Song Yayao was late. She, who usually loves wearing short skirts, unexpectedly wore long pants today. There were also bruises on her wrists. When her colleagues asked what happened, she quickly covered them up. "Oh, it's nothing. I accidentally fell down the stairs." The exact same injury, but much less severe than mine. In my previous life, Qi Feng gave away villas and luxury mansions. I think even if he had called 120, there was no need for him to do this unexpectedly. He later came holding a bouquet of roses to confess his love. I turned him down outright. "Sorry, I was being too abrupt. As compensation, at least let me treat you to a meal." "Okay." If I didn't accept the meal, he still wouldn't give up, so I agreed. We went to a Korean restaurant that day. I only took a small sip of rice wine and I was already tipsy. He wanted to take me home, but I didn't agree. That day, I stumbled back to my apartment complex in a daze, and was stopped by a strange man. His words were full of filth, and he came over and grabbed me. I somehow lost consciousness at the time. The next day, I woke up in Qi Feng's villa, covered in injuries, with tearing pain in my lower body. I still remember Qi Feng's worried expression. "I got there too late. I didn't know where your home was, so I brought you here." He even insisted on taking me to the police to file a report. It was dark, and I couldn't remember the man's face. No abnormalities were found in her body fluids, so the case was shelved. This incident left me on the verge of collapse for a time. It was Qi Feng's patient and gentle care that gradually helped me recover. "Oh dear, why won't the computer turn on?" Song Yayao looked anxious. "The system is corrupted. A month's worth of planning was completely ruined." Manager Qi slammed the table and flew into a rage. "As the person in charge, don't you even have the basic common sense to back it up? In 2 days, the Flower Sea project leader wants the proposal. Figure it out. If we can't win this project, then all of you can get the hell out." Song Yayao certainly wasn't afraid of being fired, but I needed this job after lunch. Song Yayao took leave, citing poor health, and wore an apologetic expression. Qianqian, it's all my bad luck. I fell yesterday, and today I crashed the system again. I still remember some parts of the plan. I'll stay up late tonight and work on it. No need, it can't be finished in 2 days. Take care of your health. I'll put together a simple plan on my end. Of course, I knew she would give the plan to Qi Lingfeng, so I quietly followed her under the pretense of going out for research. Song Yayao found a tattoo shop and had the tattoo of Fu Yuetu that had been engraved before removed. When she came out and saw me, she was startled. Why are you here? Looking at the swelling on her arm, I couldn't help asking, Song Yayao, is he really worth it? To be honest, I hate Song Yayao. She was the one who killed me, but in fact, even if she hadn't hurt me that day, I didn't want to live anymore. Qi Lingfeng is just a pervert. His kindness would suffocate people. He controlled me and forced me. I lived like a walking corpse that day. I wanted to tell her I couldn't go on anymore, but I never expected her to strike first. We were really close when we were in school. Her mother died when she was very young. She was abused by her stepmother and didn't even get enough to eat. We used to sit together in class. I gave her a bite to eat, and she treated me as her best friend. She didn't hide her true feelings from me, and she was willing to open up her wounds to me. Back then, though, people in our class would compare the two of us and whisper to her out of jealousy over my good grades. They said I was friends with her just to feel superior. She didn't believe it. Later, Fu Yuetu started hanging out with us a lot. When she saw that Fu Yuetu had feelings for me, youthful and confused as she was, she began quietly comparing herself to me, and then it quickly got out of hand. Actually, whenever I had trouble or ran into difficulties, she was always more than willing to help. I think she would be willing to share the hardships with me. It was just her pride and self-respect that made it impossible for her to accept that I was living better than she was. Did you fall, or did Qi Lingfeng hit you? Song Yayao suddenly shook off my hand and laughed. What do you want to hear? That Qi Lingfeng abused me, forced me to come get my tattoo removed, made me cry and ask for a breakup. Sorry to disappoint you, but Qi Lingfeng is handsome, rich, considerate, and gentle. He just gets a little rough in bed. Isn't that all because he loves me? I enjoy it, I like it very much, and getting the tattoo removed was my own choice. Am I making myself clear? She raised the car keys in her hand. Many people would even sell a kidney for an iPhone. I just got a little hurt, but I get to have all this, seeing how jealous you are, and how my stepmother and my younger brother are groveling at my feet. Isn't it worth it? Su Qian, I'm telling you, don't think you know everything. Being too self-righteous isn't a good thing. Come on, want to ride with me? I'll give you a lift. I shook my head. Since that was the case, there was no need to say anything more. I went to the police station. Fu Yuetu saw me out, his face dark. For the sake of helping me catch Qi Lingfeng, you even ignored your own future. I looked at him with a smile. Yeah, so how are you going to repay me? Nothing to repay. I'll take care of you. He said it lightly, but his face was full of resolve. Mainly, I don't want to marry above my station. He caught up to me. What are you talking about? Marrying above your station? My parents have liked you since you were little. I was stunned. Otherwise, how would I dare keep inviting you to my house to hang out? Otherwise, why wouldn't they have been pushing me all these years? His colleague happened to pass by, and I felt a bit embarrassed as I glanced at my watch. I still have to get back to clock in, so I won't keep talking. 2 days later, at the investment promotion meeting of the Huahai Group, several major media companies eagerly volunteered themselves. President Qi frowned with worry as he held the project his colleague had worked overnight to complete. Looking at his nephew Qi Lingfeng before him, he felt even more conflicted. After all, he was the child of his half-brother's family. If he couldn't even win against a junior, that would be embarrassing too. President Qi thought that, at worst, he could just act like he was letting him win. Then, losing a major project was indeed painful, but once he got back, he would definitely give those employees a good talking to. Listening to Qi Lingfeng speak eloquently, everyone was full of admiration. Just as it was President Qi's turn, the conference room door was pushed open. A young police officer and a young girl walked in. Under everyone's gaze, I slowly walked in. Fu Yuetu sat on the sofa, waved at the person in charge of Huahai, and said, "It's okay, you keep talking, I'll watch the show for a bit." I placed the folder in front of Mr. Qi. What's this? Sorry, Chizeo, but this is our actual proposal. Mr. Qi looked completely confused. He opened the dossier. Exquisite blueprints, detailed CAD construction drawings, and promotional images, including the Entertainment City operations plan, holiday event plans, everything one could want. After reading the plan, everyone nodded in approval, and the person in charge of Huahai also clapped. As expected of the top media company, this planning proposal is meticulous and comprehensive, covering every detail. Of course, in my previous life, I barely slept well for a whole month while dealing with this project. In this life, I was afraid Song Yayao might do something, so I prepared a complete set of plans. What Song Yayao deleted was merely my plan B. The person in charge of Huahai immediately made the decision and agreed to cooperate with Mr. Qi. The people in the conference room dispersed. Fu Yuatu directly blocked Qi Lingfeng's way. This is the raw video I shot in the private room at the bar. The people in this are you and your girlfriend, right? And this document here is the original file for your proposal. Where did you get this proposal from? Song Yayao copied the database out of the computer. He also shredded all the files on the computer. She thought I had no evidence on my end. But in fact, the original documents for Plan B were on my personal laptop. Let's go, shall we? Care for a cup of tea at the police station? Qi Lingfeng's father personally apologized to his own brother. In the end, Chairman Qi still chose to forgive this nephew. However, both openly and behind the scenes, Chairman Qi still ruined Guanda Group's reputation. Meanwhile, not only did Qi Lingfeng not blame Song Yayao, he even bailed her out. Fu Yuatu was shocked. It looks like he really does love Song Yayao. I didn't expect that either. However, after this incident, the company also fired her. Soon after, she blocked me too. I thought she chose this path herself. As for this friend of hers, from the moment I was reborn, I had no intention of befriending her again. In fact, the matter should have ended here, but a month later, I suddenly received a call from an unknown number. Because I had boosted CEO Qi's reputation, my salary was doubled again. Fu Yuatu insisted that I treat him to a meal, just as the two of us were enjoying ourselves. A strange phone call suddenly came in. It's Song Yayao. Her voice trembled. Su Qian, help me, no one can help me anymore. I wanted to break up with Fu Yuatu yesterday. He said he'd take me out for one last meal, and just now I overheard him saying he wants to sell me overseas tonight. Suddenly, there was the sound of a slap and crying from the other end of the phone. Yao Yao, why did you betray me? Why did you leave me? Why? Just hearing that voice made me tremble. The call was hung up. Fu Yuatu called the bureau and asked them to locate the position from which Song Yayao's call had been made. Check the flight information. Qianqian, not only is Song Yayao a victim, I suspect Qi Lingfeng is also connected to the death of his first love. Fu Yuatu no longer hid it from me. I only just found out 8 years ago. Qi Lingfeng's first love girlfriend was found dead, completely naked, in a KTV private room. There were more than a dozen bodily fluids inside her. In other words, his first love had been raped by more than 10 people before she died. As the deceased's boyfriend, Qi Lingfeng brought charges against all those people and sentenced them to death, but we completely overlooked the part that belonged to Qi Lingfeng. Moreover, Qi Lingfeng's mother suffered from a mental illness. He had always appeared perfectly normal to the outside world, so no one suspected that he might be mentally ill as well. Many pieces of information were connected into one thread. I suddenly remembered the thick stack of photos from my previous life. I know where it is. I'll go with you. In the interrogation room, Fu Yuatu followed the lead I provided to pry for information. Qi Lingfeng finally confessed everything about his first love's death. He was no longer the gentleman he had seemed to be, but looked ferocious and twisted. I don't understand. Why do they all have to leave me? I have money, power, and looks. Why? Just like my mother, did she save me only to leave me again? The main reason is that you're sick. Fu Yuatu was blunt. Should people be abandoned just because they're sick? They all deserve to die. They all deserve to die. But I don't understand. How did you know the villa I was in had a basement? Fu Yuatu shook his head and walked out. In my previous life, I was threatened and abused by an anonymous person. My mental state was somewhat shattered, and while recovering in the villa, I accidentally discovered the basement. I found that inside there were not only nude photos of me, but also a stack of photos of a young girl. At the time, I didn't know who she was. I just think Qi Lingfeng is terrifying. When I said I wanted to break up with him, he slammed me violently against the wall. He dragged me from the bathroom to the bedroom, then threw me into the basement. I hadn't eaten for 3 days, and I told him I was wrong and shouldn't have brought up breaking up. He held me and cried, and forgave me. He watched me go to work, and I also received anonymous nude photo threats. Only then did I realize that everything that night had been arranged by him as well. He's a pervert, a control freak. He has a twisted mentality toward his prey. If he can't have it, he destroys it. But fortunately, Song Yayao was rescued in time. Although she survived, she could never have children again. Fu Yuetu and I went to see her. Song Yayao no longer looked glamorous and radiant. Her face was pale. When she saw the two of us come in together, she looked up at me. Su Qian, I've been unable to figure it out these past few days. How did you find me in the basement? I just suddenly figured it out. You're also someone who's been reborn and come back, right? Fu Yuetu frowned. Reborn? Has your brain been shocked or something? I told him to wait for me outside. I'm not leaving. Fu Yuetu looked stubborn. Come on, don't worry, she won't be able to do anything to me. Fu Yuetu kept repeatedly reminding him. Then I'll be outside. Call me if you need anything. Only the two of us were left. In the room, Song Yayao grabbed my arm, her eyes bloodshot. Su Qian, why are you doing this to me? I stared straight at her. Go ahead and tell me, how did I mistreat you? She looked unwilling to accept it. Since you already knew Qi Lingfeng was a pervert, why didn't you tell me? I sneered. Didn't I say it? But did you listen? That's how you've always been, isn't it? You only believe what I say after experiencing it yourself. When we were in school, at a party I played a piano piece. You begged me to teach you, and I told you that practicing piano was very hard and required patience. You thought I didn't want to teach you and got mad at me. On your birthday, I used 3 years' worth of New Year's money to buy you an electronic keyboard. In the end, you studied for a week and could only play one line. You cried and told me your stepmother smashed the keyboard. But your stepmother said you sold it. When we were young and naive, you had a crush on our class monitor. He was good at studying and kind-hearted, and I encouraged you to study hard and strive to meet at the top one day. You said studying was hard and asked me whether I had a boy I liked. I told you that Fu Yuetu was pretty good, except that he liked to fight, and that I planned to wait until after graduation to talk about relationships. In the end, you changed course, and every conversation you had started revolving around Fu Yuetu. You even intercepted the love letters he wrote to me. She interrupted me. I just wanted a good life. Was I wrong? I looked at her. What did I do wrong? Then, you accompanied me to look for a job, but when you saw the pay was good, you rushed ahead to the interview. When you saw that Qi Lingfeng gave me luxury cars and villas, you envied me to death. What did I do wrong? In this life, you rushed to save him first. I respected the choice you wanted. What did I do wrong? You lacked confidence and wanted to prove that you were no worse than me, treating me as an enemy. What did I do wrong? Of course, I was wrong in having always treated you as a friend. I only want to tell you one thing. None of what happened to you was caused by me. It was all the result of your own choices. Song Yayao was covered in tears as she murmured, That's not it. That's not it. What is that like? Then anyway, it no longer matters to me. When I walked out of the hospital, the midday sun was dazzlingly bright. Fu Yuetu was also very curious. So I really want to ask, how did you know Qi Lingfeng would be there? I smiled. I said I died once, and came back through rebirth. Whether you believe it or not, I thought he would dismiss it and complain that I was joking. Unexpectedly, he fell silent for a long while, then finally raised his head resolutely. I believe you. I believe everything you say. Then give me a chance, and let me protect you for the rest of my life. All right? I rolled my eyes at him and turned to leave. You see, you're ignoring me and still walking so fast. Didn't someone promise to take over the flower shop for me? Or did you forget? So, you've agreed to it. Why aren't you leaving yet? If the flower shop is gone in a moment, I might just change my mind. He quickly caught up with me and pulled me into his arms. Then you won't have a chance to change your mind. Fu Yuetu's face wore a faint hint of shyness. I took over that flower shop. After hearing this story, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share them in the comments section. We look forward to hearing your voice.